What's up, YouTube? It's Brendan's Blends and I'm back with another video. So today's video is whatever's gonna get the most clicks. So it could be anything, okay? So if it's something that's popping right now, man, I promise you, that's what the title of this video is. So whatever's gonna get clicks, okay? You guys are probably asking, like, why does he talk about Florida so much? It's like I spawned in South Florida or some shit, right? Like, I was never carried in the womb. I came from an alien spaceship and I landed right in the middle of South Florida. But no, there is actually an origin story of how I even got myself to South Florida. Today, I'm gonna try my best to explain how I got to South Florida. I was specifically born in Maryland. I was raised in Montgomery County, Maryland. For 21 years of my life, that state consumed my soul. So all I knew was Maryland, man. I woke up Maryland, I went to sleep Maryland, you know, and unfortunately there ain't shit in Maryland, but you know, I was in that state, you know. Do I need to explain why I wanted to move out of Maryland? Because mind you, I don't live there anymore. So I think that explains enough. Life was not sweet, dude. You know what I'm saying, bro? We had ice and bread for dinner, bro. It wasn't Raisin Brands, but it was Raisin Needles, bro. We had hardware for breakfast, for cereal. You know, it was hard. It was hard. Life was hard, you know. As I sit here today, I am the outer shell of what tried to trap me in. Maryland. Maryland. Is there anything good I can say about Maryland? Other than the fact that my family lives there. To be honest, if there were any states that I could probably have been born in, it wouldn't have been Maryland. I know Maryland is a state, and it sounds like a state, but with the size of Maryland, it could literally be one county. That's how small Maryland is. And was living there fun? You know, in life, sometimes there's things that don't need to be explained. And asking that question and giving you the answers to that is one that does not need to be explained. But for 21 years of my life, I did what I needed to do. Fortunately enough, I finished high school. Was it hard? Yes. Was I hanging by a thread of a needle? Yes. But did I graduate and walk down that stage? I did. When I graduated, honestly, I can't lie. That was probably one of the biggest accomplishments I ever made. One of. And I was only like 17. I was 17 when I graduated. Yeah, I was 17 because my birthday is a little late. So most of my graduating class was older than me. And, you know, by months, so I was younger. That was one of the best things that had happened. And not for the reasons that you think. Unfortunately, I wasn't a scholar kid. So as soon as I graduated, college was not right around the corner. Most people that go to school, they're scholar kids. They go to school, they get good grades, they graduate, and then they have that scholarship that's waiting for them. But I'm me, you know, and I'm not. When I say I'm me, I'm not saying that to disrespect myself. I'm just saying that I think outside of the box. If you understand what I'm saying. School is a box. Brendan's Blends thinks outside of the box. And that's all I did when I was in school. I always thought outside of the box. So as much as I wanted to go to college and get a college degree and get my bachelor's and stuff like that, it wasn't in my plans. So probably when I hit about 18, I got my first job. I started working, man. Woo! Man, work. When I say work, I'm not talking about clocking into an office for a 9 to 5. I'm talking about walking to a grocery store with 8 aisles and a whole bunch of sections and hundreds of people running around buying groceries. And I have to stay in place and ring people out. Now, in this life, there are things that I wouldn't wish on people. And being a cashier at a grocery store is one of them. But I did it. And like I said, man, I think outside the box, okay? So unfortunately, one job for me was not enough, okay? If I was working a job, I'd be lucky if I stayed for longer than 3 months, okay? Now, not for the reason that you think, but the jobs just get harder. It gets harder and harder, but sometimes there are better opportunities in different areas. Better opportunities and better pay. And like I said, if I were to explain something about Maryland, it would be the fact that job opportunities are at a decreasing negative zero balance. If jobs in Maryland was on the stock market, you would be broke by negative $1 billion, because that's how many job opportunities Maryland does not have. Okay, when I say that, I mean it. Okay, if you're looking for a job that's gonna pay you $20 an hour or more in Maryland, you might want to move from Maryland, okay? Because you're not gonna find that unless you have a college degree or some type of trade certificate. Yes, if you don't believe me, move to Maryland and try. At 18, got my first job. Unfortunately, my baby face couldn't get a job at 16, so I had to wait until I was 18. Like, that made a difference. So I got my first job, okay? I walked out and I worked. I worked and I made some type of money. Now, what I did with my money, that's something between me and God, okay? But I did a lot with my money. A lot. But at the end of the day, I'm here. I'm still here, dog. And as you can tell, yeah, you know what I'm saying? As you can tell, now I know what to do with my money. Okay? I wasn't that little 18-year-old high school graduate, graduating class, walk down the stage. I wasn't that kid anymore, okay? I am now an adult who has 3/4 of life left to go. So I got my first job, started working, made money. Now mind you, like I said, I was 15, 16, 17, bro. When I got my first check, bro, cool little $300 after 2 weeks, hey, okay, I can't sit here and lie, dude, all right? I felt like the man, okay? I was still living with my parents at 18, so $300, hey, I had something. I worked from 18 all the way till 21. There was something deep down inside my soul and deep down in my spirit that really made me rethink my time in Maryland. Maryland is dry. If I'm gonna be 100% honest, Maryland is dry. And I honestly think there's a lot of states that are in the East Coast that are dry. But what I made out of my life is what I made out of my life. And staying in Maryland was not something that I wanted to do. The decision that I made when all my things were packed and I caught a flight and I left and didn't come back, as much as I want to sit here and say, oh, I miss my friends and this and that, to be honest, I didn't really have that many friends. In high school, I didn't have that many friends. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. When it comes down to it, I would prefer to have a soft plushie toy as a friend, right? You know, soft plushie toy, you know, it doesn't move around a lot, you know. When I'm going to sleep, I can put it right next to me as I go to sleep. In terms of pets, okay, I would rather have a hermit crab, a dog, a cat, something that has a heart, and something that I can take care of, if you get what I'm saying. I would rather have that as a pet than a wild species that's intent is to take my life, okay? Like a python or a big, huge 6-foot alligator, okay? Have you seen how big pythons are, bro? I don't know if you've seen how big pythons are, okay? But even when they die, they still move, okay? And I don't know how you kill that, but you run from that, okay? Even when they die, they keep trying to come back, okay? Apparently, if you chop their head off, they still keep moving and they regrow ones or some shit like that. I don't know. But look, there's a difference between certain pets, okay? And when I say I didn't have any friends in Maryland, bro, I honestly mean I didn't have any friends in Maryland. I didn't have a dog, a cat, or a hermit crab that I could easily take care of. I had pythons. I had venomous snakes that were lingering and laying eggs around me while I was sleeping, okay? And I woke up and I left. That's it. And to be honest, when I went to Florida, I met cool dogs and cool cats and, you know, cool pets, you know? And they probably looked at me as a cool pet too, you know? And that's just life. I say that to say, the main reason why I decided to leave Maryland was because the pets that I was around and that I wanted, that I thought I was taking care of. But I can see clearly now that it's always about the pets that I have around. And it'll always be about the pets that I have around. And the right pets that I have around me means the right success that I have around me. And the wrong pets that I have around me means the plotting of what I have. So that is my story time. Like I said, you might understand it, you might not, okay? But if you understand it, what I want you to do is drop a like, comment, subscribe, share the video, and let me know if you guys want to hear more from me. I hope you enjoyed this video. You already know, it's Brendan's Blends. I'm out. Peace.